Sales Lead Dog Podcast, hosted by CRM technology and sales process expert Christopher Smith, talking with sales leaders that have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Listen to find out how the best of the best achieve success with their team and CRM technology. And remember, unless you are the lead dog, the view never changes.
Welcome to Sales Lead Dog. Today we have joining us a thought leader, Angel Ribo. Angel, welcome to Sales Lead Dog.
Thank you. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here with you and for your, and to your audience, obviously, that they will be patiently listening to us today.
That's great. So Angel, tell us about yourself and what you do these days.
Absolutely. So basically what I do is both corporate CEOs and established entrepreneurs, they hire me to bridge the gap globally for expansion and exposure. So that means basically that they help them accelerate the growth of their businesses through international expansion strategies. The reason why I do that is because I originally was born in Barcelona in Spain. I started an international career because I learned English and French and then Portuguese. And then, I decided to go international and fast forward, I had, helped more than, 1,500 companies and their C-level executives making certain, purchasing decisions. And also then, I was working literally in more than 30 countries doing that. So, eventually for almost 5 years ago, I decided to go from the corporate world to have my own business. And that's how I ended up doing what I do. Besides that, actually, something that played a key role for me to do that was that I decided also to start my own charity. It's called Wisdom for Kids. And we help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using their local resources. I'm very strong on LinkedIn, so you will find me on LinkedIn over there. I'm an influencer there and very active, always sharing both personal and professional stories. And many of them are sales-related stories. So I'm so excited to be here, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, no, we're excited to have you. And I love what you're doing as an entrepreneur. Anything that facilitates entrepreneurs, especially I love it with kids. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us about your I'm going to start with your switch to being an entrepreneur. That's a big shift to make. What was that like for you?
Yes, it was obviously when you look back, right? You know that you made so many mistakes, and you would, if you were given another chance, you would definitely do it completely different. You know that feeling?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm sure you do, right?
Yeah, totally.
But also I believe that, regardless of where you stand, like from a spiritual or religious perspective, I think that we are only given the battles that we can really fight and succeed on. Yep. Okay, so that wasn't an exception. So there's always something that happens that keeps you afloat, always, no matter what,
Yep. Yep.
So I decided to leave corporate America after almost like 17, 18 years, starting in Europe and then being here.
Yeah.
In the US. I'm right now north of Dallas in Texas. And it was, in the beginning, to be honest, the first thing I can tell you I remember is that I really wasn't sure of what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure. I had so many paths, right?
Right.
Before leaving the corporate world, I had attended several entrepreneurs, online marketeers kind of conferences. Yep. In order to explore several, avenues, how to become a consultant, how to become a coach, how to launch products online, how to be a good online marketeer. And on top of that, also, I would say that I never really reflected on everything that I had done before.
Right.
So I was full of doubts with a lot of different possibilities in front of me. And it took to me a while to say, okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go down that path only.
Yep.
So that's what I remember. But, definitely, probably the same as you. If I can learn anybody not to make the same mistakes,
yep.
There I go.
Oh, yeah. So what was that like transitioning where you're selling for other people? Now you're selling for yourself.
Yeah. So number one is making sure that the imposter syndrome was not affecting me, right? I remember that it wasn't until I literally sat down. And when I was telling you before that I had done business in 33, 34 countries, until that very moment, and that was months and months and months after I had started my own entrepreneurial career, I sat down and I started to write down, okay, so how many companies have I helped in my life? And I tried to cut and paste different spreadsheets from different, places I had worked and done business with, and companies and industries. I put them all together. And then I said, okay, how many countries? Those different companies, where are they based? So I started to make a list of different countries. Okay, and then how did I help them? So I helped them do this, 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 and this. When I took stock of that, experience, it was then when I realized, okay, so I might have something to offer.
Yeah.
I might have something to sell to the others. So actually, I made the decision. I made the decision of, I'm going to be extremely active on LinkedIn. Okay, so that was my first decision. So I haven't really used networking online before. Right. I was using it like reactively. Now I'm going to be proactive, and I'm going to make LinkedIn the place where I'm going to conduct all my sales. Before, I don't remember selling a single thing. Nothing since the 90s, where I don't remember when LinkedIn was founded, but until 2016, when I decided to set up my own company. So that was the first thing. So I started to see, okay, so I'm going to do this. How do I create an audience? And then I started to learn how to do business on LinkedIn, how to reach out to people. I made so many mistakes. I mean, crazy things. Crazy things. It really, obviously there were people blocking me, and you name it. Trying to reach out the wrong way, and trying to be artificial, trying not to be me, to be honest, because I was in this. If I had to describe it, in some sort of quicksand, that you know what you do, but you really don't, and then you one step forward and two steps backwards, all the time. And then obviously after starting like doing some marketing, and then having the conversations, right? And how am I going to prepare my own proposals, and what are my own proposals going to look like? And I have to say, probably one of the mistakes I made was also that I didn't reach out to the people that could have supported me, people that I could have partnered up with. Oh, what a big mistake, Right. Definitely. That was a big mistake. But, I'm alive. I still have a family. I still have a home. I still have a couple of cars. I still go on holiday and I vacation from time to time. So it's not that bad, Chris.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people are afraid to make that jump, but it's like anything else in life where you're making a big change like that you have to be all in. You have to be committed to it, and you have to be committed to success, which, for being a sales leader, for our listeners, they might not want to be an entrepreneur, but hey, that's like, hey, I want to make that transition into sales leadership, or maybe I want to go for that position at another firm that might be a much bigger role than I have today. What should they take from the lessons you've learned to motivate them to make that leap?
Well, number one, whatever the route is that they pick is good. Okay, it's okay. So because we tend to be so hard on ourselves, oh my God. Okay, so whatever the decision you take is going to be the right one for you. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, if you decide to make that leap, that change, then I would say, just as you said, there's a mantra I use with all my clients all the time, which is take imperfect action now. Take imperfect action now. That's my favorite one. Yep. So I would say, there's no perfect path to where you want to go.
Right.
But the reality is that the sooner you make certain mistakes, the sooner you're going to get there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So there's in the startup world, there's this concept called the minimum viable product.
Yes.
Okay. So any startup, when they're going to launch something, they say, okay, so what's the minimum value in the form of a service or a product I'm going to put together so that the market is going to react positively and they will start acquiring my services or my product, right? So this is so much more simple than what you think. You just have to reach out to the people that you already know, or the potential business partners, and go to them and say, hey, I just started. I just got out, the corporate world. I want to do this. Would you be willing just to have a coffee, over coffee conversation and tell me that makes sense? And if you would be willing to tell me your feedback about this, it's as simple as that. In a week, you can have 5, 10 conversations like that,
Yep.
and already know what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and start having those conversations with potential clients. Again, I was talking about making mistakes on LinkedIn and sending the wrong messages. If you genuinely, even if it's people that you don't know, if you genuinely reach out to people and ask them for help,
Yep.
I mean, don't explain them your life, okay? Just, I need your help because I just left the corporate world and I would like to, proof test something that I want to change, to launch to the market. I tell you, maybe it's not going to be a 50%, but there's going to be a 10%, 20% of people that are going to say yes. And they will be able to meet, they will be willing to meet over coffee with you to discuss that.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, and the ones that have been there, the ones like you and me that we have been there, oh my God, do we want to help other people not to make the same mistakes?
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of
It's
course
so
we want.
important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I think that's the most important thing. And again, you don't have to wait. I remember that one of my excuses was, we look for so many excuses. As soon as I left the corporate world, my company held me and put me, they gave me a very nice package and everything.
Yep.
And they gave me an outplacement company to work with, right? To find another job.
Right.
I remember being the only one, very high level executives on the same meeting, blah, blah, blah. I was the only one in the entire room that wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
The only one, every single meeting. So I would have a meeting, 1 or 2 meetings per week with them, with other executives looking for a position.
Yep.
I was the only one that wanted to be an entrepreneur. The rest wanted to have another job, another gig, or another company, which is good. Again, it's good. It's perfect. And again, there's nothing wrong. But the sooner you start going down that path,
Yes.
the better for you.
Yes.
Because you need reinforcement, and you need reinforcement, and you need to learn lessons. Nobody will learn their lessons. You need to be yourself in front of the reality that you're going to be, acting on. And the new reality is you before other companies that want or might want what you are going to offer to them.
Yeah. And I liked your advice to work your network, seek out help, ask for help from people in your network to say, hey, I'm thinking about making this transition, be it, maybe it's a new job, maybe it's not to be an entrepreneur, but there's still a lot of people that have done the same thing already that, that are say, hey, whatever you do, don't do this. I did that and it was a dismal failure. Try this instead. It's you can't buy that kind of help.
Exactly. And also something else that I didn't mention, but something that would have helped me a lot is probably to ask for help, even to pay someone to coach me in that process.
Yes.
There's coaches out there. There's people that have done this. There's people that help you get from a position at the corporate towards becoming a successful entrepreneur. There's people doing that. Oh my God, I wish I had taken the decision. I had made the decision of having someone hire someone to do that for me. Honestly, the only resource which is scarce in our lives is time. That's the only one. It's time. We will always get money and anything else, but time goes by. So start asking for help. Hire someone that can help you bridge that gap. Bridge that gap to the first dollar, to the first purchase order. Have someone help you get there. And maybe the only piece of advice of who to hire. There's literally thousands of coaches out there that can help you do that, but look for someone that's made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, that's great. So when you're working with your clients, is there a common struggle or pain point that they have that hold them back from success?
Yes. It's definitely, they don't feel comfortable selling. They know they have a value proposition. Some of them have a solution and there's a problem that exists. Others have a solution, but maybe the problem doesn't exist or it's not big enough. But it doesn't matter. That's why we are there to talk and we're there to discuss and how to make that value proposition really viable in the market. But still, I think that that's the most important thing, to make sure that I help them do something that they're just feeling comfortable. Not everybody feels comfortable asking for the purchase order. And needless to say, not everybody knows how to go to the market, which is another thing, right? That's why I always say it's expansion and exposure. expansion and exposure. So expansion is developing business, but exposure means what are all those marketing tools, strategies, and tactics that are going to help you to get to that place, to get to these people that might hire you or buy your products. And that's what they have in common. Let me add something to this, if I may, Chris, which is obviously every time we talk right now, when I'm having this conversation with you, I'm attracting a specific kind of person, right? I'm attracting a specific kind of entrepreneur, a specific kind of C-level executive. I don't attract everybody. And that's okay. I know what I'm saying, and I'm being me, and I know that I'm going to attract certain persona or a certain avatar, and that's okay. The world is full of people that need my services, and it's the same with you, and it's the same with you, Chris, and it's the same with everybody that wants to go from corporate to becoming an entrepreneur. We are unique in our lives, we are unique in our experiences, and we are unique in the way that we can deliver that value to our potential clients. That's why we'll never, that's a conversation you've had probably hundreds, if not thousands of times. I remember when I was training my sales force, the new sales reps would come to me and say, hey, okay, so where am I going to find leads? Oh, that's an interesting conversation. So, we would tell them, okay, so this is the source of leads, and I'm sure that your sales VP or your sales manager is going to give you a whole bunch of leads, and then there will always be someone in that sales training, someone raising their hands and saying, and what if I finish my list of leads and nobody has wanted to give me an appointment? I said, okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna do that myself. I'm gonna expose myself with you in front of the rest of the class, right? So if you ever finish all your lists of leads, I commit to you that I will be sitting down with you for an entire day, and we will both look for additional leads or list of leads online or in any other institutions that could provide you with potential clients of your business. Obviously, the message I was trying to convey is it that there are not enough leads or potential clients to you, or is it that maybe the work that you're doing is not good enough? Maybe the questions that you're asking, maybe the phone calls, maybe the places where you're looking, right? The reality is, Chris, that nobody ever came back to me, since the 90s asking for lists of additional leads.
Right.
Nobody. So at the end of the day, obviously, we all have to learn somewhere, and we all have to start, with inside sales or whatever, or telemarketer, marketing, or whatever that is.
What's your craziest sales story from your career?
Well, there's plenty, but I have to say the one that I will never forget. So this is the deal, okay? So this is a multinational company. They're all over the world. What they do is they do electric motors. Okay, like all sizes. They're huge. Okay, they are originally from Brazil. Okay, and they were basically opening a huge. No, they had just acquired a new massive manufacturing plant in a specific place in Mexico. Okay, so the headquarters were using a specific technology, right? Which was actually the technology that I was representing. Okay, so I was covering the entire territory at that time, and I said, okay, wonderful. So we're just going to just acquire this company, so it's going to be an easy sale, right? So they just acquired this additional company here in Mexico. In Brazil, the standard technology is our technology, so it's going to be a piece of cake.
Right.
It's going to be a piece of cake, right? It's, they already know the advantages, blah, 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 everything. All right. To make things worse, I'm originally from Spain. As I said before, I was in Mexico, and I was doing that. That wasn't a direct sale from me. So I was doing that indirectly through one of my business partners. Okay. One of my channel partners, to say it properly. All right. So I said, just go there, do all the groundwork, and then whenever you need me to, for the final stages of the negotiation, I show up. What was even worse was that the CEO and general manager of that company in Mexico, he was also from Spain. So I said, oh my God, we will be able to talk about soccer, and we will be able to have a nice meal together. And we will, so you name it. when you already have this image in your brain.
Yeah. It's lining up. Everything's lining up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are the chances of this Brazilian company buying a company in Mexico, and the CEO and GM, he is a Spaniard, right? Yeah. Okay, so we start the sales process, blah blah blah, and then I start receiving symptoms, right? I mean, hey, there's a strong team. They had something like a 35, 40 engineering team, and those were each one represented X thousands of dollars of that particular proposal, right?
Yep.
So, but suddenly from, the sales director of that channel partner of mine, hey, there's a strong group which are using a completely different technology. These guys have never used our technology. They use another one, and they're very strong, and they really believe it's much more important, right? So I have to say that unfortunately we took shortcuts. We didn't analyze the decision process properly. We didn't analyze the decision criteria properly. We didn't have enough conversations with the economic buyer, with the CEO, with the GM. So we took so many shortcuts that we ended up losing the deal.
Oh my.
And it was several hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Several hundreds of thousands. So I will never forget the name of that company. Obviously, I'm trying to be extremely respectful and don't disclose the name of the company. But I have to tell you something. With the director of sales of that channel partner, we became friends because we were badly defeated. And obviously, all the company knew about that deal. When that deal has so much visibility inside the company that everybody's expecting us to win it.
Yeah.
So we had to go back and say, we lost it. What? We lost it. Yeah, we lost the deal. Well, to recover that account, it took to us 4 or 5 more years.
Wow.
4 or 5 more years to get it back, to have, to perform, enough proofs of concept there, and to make sure that we were doing the right benchmarks of technology against technology, blah, blah, blah. And I guarantee you, we never took any other shortcut. We didn't take any other chances in any other deal. I tell you that.
Oh, I bet. Dealing with rejection is a big part of sales, and being a sales leader and modeling that, how you handle rejection. I think it's important for a sales leader to model that for their team. What's your recommendations for sales leaders in terms of how they create the proper perspective in their sales team, especially the younger people that are getting started in sales?
I would say number one is that for your potential clients, future clients, you call them suspects, leads, prospects, whatever, depending on the maturity, but their perspective is their reality. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. So your reality is not their reality. Okay. So that's the number one thing. So the number one thing I would like to say is, this is a marathon. Okay. So just you have to learn, and don't burn your bridges. It's a matter of time. You have to learn how to do this. This is as anything else, as playing tennis, as swimming, as driving, as anything else. This is a long run. Okay, so it's going to take some time for you to perfect whatever you want to do. And remember, be yourself all the time. That would be my second one. Be yourself. Don't pretend to be anybody else. It doesn't mean that you don't have to be mentored. You don't have to receive lessons. No. Okay, but be yourself, because if you're not yourself, you're going to be, sidetracked, whatever that is, and you're going to feel saying, I should have done what my gut feel was telling me. Okay, so just be there. And the third thing is always have the tough conversations. Don't hold anything to you. Always have those tough conversations. So what I'm trying to say is always make sure that whatever decision, whatever proposal you're making, whatever conversation, it's for the good of your client.
Right.
It's for the good of your client. Okay. So genuinely care about what is important for the client. Remember one thing, as I said before, perception is their reality. They want something, but you believe as a salesperson that they need something else.
Right.
Okay. So it's what they want. It's what they want. So remember, it's their reality. So you have to be there all the time. Okay. So those would be my, most important, pieces of advice. And again, you learn a lot. I mean, I learned from a desk making phone calls. That's how I learned.
Yes. Yep.
That's how I personally learned. I didn't even, it took to me more than a year to start making, sales appointments with the field reps, but it is what it is. It is, we have to learn, we have to make mistakes.
You have to struggle. That's right.
Yeah.
So let's transfer our discussion here to talk about CRM. When it comes to CRM and your career in sales, did you love it or do you hate it?
I loved it. And I loved it because it helped me structure myself and organize myself. The real, can I use a brand, or can I use I'd rather not?
We try to stay away from that. And just talk in general terms. We don't want to.
So there wasn't
one over another.
No, it's okay. So just going back in time in the late 90s, there was one system that was really like the number one that everybody would use, and everybody would use that one. I remember when the company was working with was over $1 billion in revenue, and they decided to buy that. Right, that was a multi-million-dollar deal that they had to invest on. I remember it was like a savior. I mean, I remember even though it was complicated, like lots of fields and things and interactions, it was like, oh my God, great. We have a way like to put all that information and to keep that information in at some place so that it's going to help me have a better possibility to follow up on those deals. Because at the end of the day, following up is everything. When every single industry says that the millions are in the follow-up, you bet. And CRMs really help you be organized. That's for me, that was, I remember my first time ever using that particular CRM. And I've always used different. After that, I use CRMs consistently.
Yes,
it's the peace of mind that you say. Again, a lot of people see it as a way to control, which I understand and which I agree. You need to control your sales force. You need to have some level of accountability with your sales force. I get that, but it's a help. It's something that's going to help you. It's part of your support system, and you need support systems to excel in sales.
Yeah, I think it's a great tool for salespeople because everybody goes into slumps, and when that happens, the sales leader can use the information in CRM to say, hey, look, I see you're doing this here. Have you thought about maybe trying this? But if you don't have that information in CRM, how is the leader be able to coach effectively, because they have no insight as to what they've been doing or what's going on?
Exactly. And, and to your point, some people don't like to be controlled. Some people feel like, I'm the top gun here. I don't need anybody to overlook what I'm doing.
Right.
With all due respect, we belong to an organization.
That's right. The
final goal of that organization is to pay back to the owners, to the investors, to pay back, to the shareholder, to give that additional value to the shareholders. They invested their money, they invested their time, they invested their wealth in making that company successful. You have a job because of them. So anything that you do, which is going against that contradicts that, I regret to say, it's not right.
That's right.
It's not right. The end goal of any organization is to increase shareholder value no matter what. And you as a salesperson, you have to be aware that every business decision that you make has an impact and a financial implication, has a financial implication in the company and in the profitability of the company. So you're part of that structure. I understand that you like to, sell big and close these big, massive deals and great revenue. But okay, so what are the implications of closing that deal? First, as I said before, for the client, is it going, because in the moment that you close a sale, remember, it's good for you because you get the revenue, but it's a problem in the financial statements, right? It's remember, you are a problem for your client until your client starts to recover the investment. Remember that.
That's right.
And it's the same for your company. So, okay, you get the revenue, but who has to fulfill that order? Your entire organization behind you has to fulfill the order. Did you take everything into consideration so that you will be able to profitably fulfill that order for your client? These are the kind of things that you have to take into consideration every time you close a sale.
Yeah, I could not have said that better, Angel. That is so.
Thank you.
That's one of the discussions I love to have when we engage with a client is, okay, what happens when that deal's won? What is that being supported by your CRM? Is the information in your CRM to support the team that downstream that, as you said, they now have to take care of that customer. They have to own that relationship and make sure they achieve the ROI on their investment. So important.
Absolutely. I mean, in all honesty, I mean, if we want to keep our teams accountable, I mean, we have to, and we want them, all of them, to be engaged, right? I mean, we have to educate them. I mean, very honestly, I mean, you know, because you sell every single day. So I think that having those financial implications conversation is like the elephant in the room.
Yes.
It's like the elephant in the room. Who feels really comfortable? I mean, have you ever felt this? Let me ask you a question, Chris. Have you ever been in that situation in which you're trying to close a deal, you're in a negotiation table, and suddenly the CFO of your client shows up? Oh my God, you are with the fingers like this, cross fingers, saying, I pray to God that the questions from the CFO are not going to be that difficult, so I can still answer them, and they will still be interested in doing business with me.
Yes.
Because if we get into, if he pulls up his financial statements and he starts going on like, okay, so this and this and this and this, and he starts making these difficult questions. Oh my God, you might even have an MBA, but even if you have an MBA, how long ago did you forget all the financial principles?
Oh yeah.
That will eventually allow you to understand what the CFO is going to say, but you still want to win the PO, right?
Yep.
So this is exactly where we are. So we have to be humble, and we have to receive the education in order to be able to, be engaged in our company, be aligned with everybody else, and then we can be kept accountable.
Yep. No, I love it. So Angel, we're coming up on our time here on Sales Lead Dog. If people want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to reach out and connect?
Thank you. The best way for them to connect with me is definitely to go and send me an email. It's very simple, like my name. It's Angel, Angel, at angelribo.com. It's ANGL again, RIB as in boy, O, RIB as in boy, B as in boy, O.com. So it's Angel at angelribo.com. I'm very active on LinkedIn, very, very active. So you can, reach out to me, Angel Ribo. My brand is the CEO Confidant, So you can go to LinkedIn. You will find me there easily. Yep. Either my team or myself are going to answer your questions, your emails, your messages on LinkedIn. We are very, very proactive in engaging with everybody. Yep. And it will be a pleasure, obviously, to serve you.
Yeah. Well, it's been great talking with you, Angel. I'm glad we got to finally connect and talk. This has been terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you for the opportunity, Chris, obviously. And thank you, everybody. Thank you to all the audience listening to us today.
Awesome.
As we end this discussion on Sales Lead Dog, be sure to subscribe to catch all our episodes. On social media, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Watch the videos on YouTube, and you can also find our episodes on our website at impellercrm.com/Sales Lead Dog. Sales Lead Dog is supported by Impeller CRM, delivering objectively better CRM for business, guaranteed.